I don't know what to say. This calls for an emergency video. What is life right now? What is happening? I'm still in shock. New Taylor Swift album. Who saw that coming? Not me. It's a good day to be a Swiftie. Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Nena. If you are new here, welcome. I'm so happy to have you, and if you're not new, thanks for coming back. If you haven't heard the news by now, Taylor Swift has announced her 10th studio album is coming out October 21st. That doesn't even feel like a real sentence. I'm just like, I've been in shock for the past 12 hours. I literally can't believe it. I was not prepared. And it's so funny. I'm never prepared. I'm like, literally, I could wake up every Thursday morning at like 6 a.m. to see if she's announced something, and she's never going to announce it when I'm expecting it, ever. And I really wasn't expecting last night to happen. I gotta hand it to her. She is so good at keeping us on our toes, and honestly, I feel like as soon as we think we know something, she like sends us in a completely different direction. I just felt like I needed to make this video today and sit down and just talk about this because I'm still processing. So yesterday was Sunday and it was the VMAs, and we went from not really being sure if she was even gonna show up to her showing up, accepting all of the awards, after party outfit, announcing the out, just like so many things. And yesterday I was hanging out with friends and I just wasn't on my phone all day. I didn't really watch the VMAs. I don't really like watching award shows that much anymore, and I didn't think Taylor Swift was gonna be there anyways. Oh, the one time I decided, I'm not gonna watch it. She's probably not even gonna be there. Yeah, I missed everything. I was outside hanging out with my friends, and one of my friends came outside and she was like, new Taylor Swift album coming out, and the sound that came from me was like I had been shot. I hit the ground and just started screaming. It's like I cannot control the person I become when Taylor Swift announces something. Like, it is almost like I become a whole different person, and I was just like screaming bloody murder. I couldn't believe I was scrambling to find my phone, look at the video, read everything. I hate being the last to know something about Taylor Swift, and so I was literally just freaking out. I should have recorded myself because I was just like going crazy, but like the only thing I was thinking about is I need to know all the information. That was my initial reaction to the news. When I went and I watched the video of her doing the speech, it was just so funny the way she went about it, because it was almost like she just made that decision right then and there. She's like, I decided if I won this, I was gonna tell you. So I'm like, if she didn't win, would she have still announced it? I don't know. Maybe she just like knew that she was going to win, as she should. All too well for the short film video of the year, the VMAs. I feel like there's just been so many iconic moments of Taylor Swift at the VMAs. There was a picture side by side of her in 2009 when she got interrupted, and then a picture of her this year, and it's just so funny. Like, she's 32 now. In that moment, I think she was 20 maybe, and it's just so crazy to see how far she's come since that day. But yeah, my initial reaction, I was like unwell last night. I just like couldn't stop like screaming, couldn't even believe it, because we were always joking that Taylor Swift was gonna come out with TS10. Oh, but like I really thought she was gonna announce like a new re-recorded album. I did not think she was actually going to put out a brand new album next. Although it did kind of make sense. I just like, there's no way Taylor Swift wasn't working on new music while she was re-recording her old stuff. But we're gonna get into this a little bit later when I go over my thoughts and predictions for this album, but I just wanted to kind of like give you guys my initial reaction and just talk about this, and also go through some of the Easter eggs that I think we missed completely. Because she did drop Easter eggs that we just kind of dismissed because they didn't seem that important. And also, we were looking for Easter eggs about the next re-recorded album. We weren't looking for new music at all. I mean, at least I wasn't really looking. But I think most of these Easter eggs come from the Instagram posts, the Instagram captions, and all of that. The main one is when This Love, Taylor's version, came out, and in the caption, she said midnight, but she like spaced it all out. So we're like, oh, she always says like, oh, this is getting released at midnight, because every song gets released at midnight on a Thursday, Friday, you know? So we really didn't think anything of that, but it did kind of seem weird that she kind of like spaced it out and she was putting like emphasis on it. And then when Carolina came out, she wrote in her little description, I wrote this alone in the middle of the night. And so I think she was alluding to a lot of those kinds of things, but that wasn't news to us because we know Taylor Swift writes a lot of songs in the middle of the night and she always talks about it. So it was just like, oh yeah, that's just something that she does. And then Aaron Dessner posted on his story on Instagram about Carolina and said out at midnight, and it had 10 exclamation points. TS10, 10th album. That made sense. But I don't know if that's that's something we would have picked up on at the time. I think some people actually got it right. I think some people theorized that she was coming out with some kind of thing called Midnight or something. Another thing I noticed is that every time I listened to The Way I Loved You, Taylor's version, there was a clock, and it kind of like, it was like an old-timey clock. It's not like the new one that Spotify has right now, but I thought that was interesting. But obviously dismissed that. It didn't really make sense that it was the Spotify background, but some of these things you just kind of like see and don't think anything of. There was some Midnight Blue merch that had stars on it, really similar to the dress that she wore last night to the after party. People thought that was like a little bit of an Easter egg. I think we dismissed the really easy Easter eggs because we were thinking like, oh, that can't be it, that's too easy. But, you know, Taylor Swift proves again and again that she's literally like telling us without telling us these things. And of course, everything makes sense in hindsight, and I'm sure there's so many more Easter eggs that we haven't discovered yet, and this is just what I could find in the past couple of hours. And then I've just seen some random theories on the internet about the album, how long it's been in the works for, and someone said I saw this on TikTok, someone said that this is like the opposite of Lover. It's kind of like the complementary album for Lover because it was supposed to be called Daylight, and this one's kind of like Midnights, so it's like that contrast there. And I don't know, we're gonna get into this a little bit in a second about what I think the album's gonna be about, but I don't know how long she's been hinting at this album because obviously she's said that she can hint 3 years in advance, so I'm curious to go back and look 3 years ago or like in the past couple years and see if there's any more Easter eggs. So if you guys have found them, comment them down below. I would love to figure this out with you guys and discuss with you guys in the comments. So now I'm gonna get into kind of like my thoughts and predictions for this album and what I think is gonna happen. I think just from reading her little prologue in her Instagram caption, you can kind of get a feel for what this album is gonna be, but the prologue is so eloquent and so beautifully written. It's almost like poetry. It's so beautiful. She describes it as midnights, the stories of 13 sleepless nights scattered throughout my life. And then she says, meet me at midnight. This is so interesting because this makes it seem like she's been working on this over a period of years and not just in the past couple years. So that leads me to believe that some of these songs were written at different points of her life, and this is more like a memoir rather than just like an album she has written about the past couple years. This is an album that's like stretches far into the past a little bit more. It's giving very full circle. There's 13 tracks and 13 is her number. There's been so many references to midnight in her music. Like every single album has a reference to the time of the night. Just like everything happens in the middle of the night in a Taylor Swift song. I'm really excited about this new insight into her life, and maybe these are stories that we're just like untold that we've never heard before, and that's like really exciting to think about. That these are kind of like vault tracks in a way, but they seem a little bit different. They seem a little bit more personal than just like a vault track that got left off the albums that she put out in her past. But I do wonder how this fits into the timeline of like when she was working on Folklore and Evermore. Like, has she been working on this for longer? Was she working on this like throughout the past couple years that she's put out all these new albums? Like, this will be her, how many albums is that? This is her 6th album in 3 years. That is literally insane. I do wonder about the sides because it says side A and side B, and the first side has 6 songs and the second side has 7 songs. So I don't know where that divide is going to be and like why she decided to separate them into 2 kind of sections of this album. And she has not put out the track list names yet, so I'm wondering if they're going to remain anonymous until it comes out, or if she's going to announce that sometime in the future, or if she's already kind of hidden the names of the tracks somewhere waiting for us to decode what they are. Because I think in the little prologue, some people think that those could either be song lyrics, those could be the names of some of the songs. I think Meet Me at Midnight could be one of the songs, and I love that. It really reminds me of like Meet Me in the Afterglow. This album, the sound of this album, I think is gonna be for the mirror ball girlies, for kind of like the late at night thoughts. And I don't know if these are all gonna be kind of sad. I really can't imagine there being a super upbeat song on this album because it feels like very heavy in a way, very personal. I don't know if there's gonna be any like pop hits. That's not really where I think she's going with this. It seems very introspective. It seems like an album I'm gonna like a lot and that I'm gonna listen to at midnight when I'm trying to fall asleep. Like, just looking at the Instagram post, that second picture, she looks like so wrecked. She's sitting there like hand on her head with like this phone in her other hand. Like, that image is so powerful. And I'm sure people are gonna zoom in and try to figure out if there's anything more important in this picture because she's kind of sitting, there's a desk, there's a picture, there's something sitting on the desk, and she looks like she's just going through it. So I really wonder if she's just digging into all of these times where she couldn't put these songs on her albums in the past because they were too real. I'm really wondering, these might be like super raw. At least that's what I'm hoping for. I need more songs that are like that. Those are my favorite ones. Always. Always my favorite ones. Like if this is just an album of like all too wells, we're not gonna survive. But it's gonna be perfect for autumn. Sad girl autumn lives on. And just thinking about the last 3 years, I've never gone through the fall season without a new Taylor Swift album is so crazy and beautiful, and I think it should always be like that. And I saw a post, this is kind of funny. She's releasing the album on Kim K's birthday. And I don't know if that's on purpose or just by coincidence, but it's funny nonetheless. Now let's talk about like predictions and these little Easter eggs, because now on Spotify, the little videos behind them are now all of the lyrics that mention sleepless nights, midnight, like any time of the night of all her different songs are now like the lyrics on the Spotify videos. And also it's a clock and it has 4 different colors. It's like in quadrants and it's pointing to midnight, goes to midnight, but each quadrant is a different color and everyone's kind of speculating what those colors could mean. And there's a really strong theory, someone came up with this on Twitter, but I think a lot of people kind of thought of this when it first came out, that each part is like an album. So maybe the different tracks are going to have to do with each portion of her life, each era. So, you know, blue, 1989, yellow for Fearless, red is obviously for Red, but like there's only kind of 4 main colors and there's a lot more albums than that. So yeah, that's kind of up in the air, that theory. I'm sure in the coming weeks we're gonna find out more about it and someone's gonna figure it out, because I feel like a lot of the time I leave that to the professional Swiftie detectives and I just kind of like to pull all the information together and try to form my own opinion about it. But I definitely think that could be possible, that there's nods to each era and that we're gonna know which era the songs are from. I would say. She was very explicit saying these are 13 sleepless nights scattered throughout my life. So we know these songs are about all different points of her life. And I think that's so cool, because usually we're just assuming these songs are inspired by whatever she's been through in the last year or 2 years. But now there's just so many more layers to it, because we know that it's taken place over the past 13, 15 years. That's literally crazy. I'm excited to keep researching and trying to find little Easter eggs that she's hidden over the past 3 years, because I feel like we're definitely missing something. Another side note, people thought that when Taylor showed up to the VMAs in that outfit, it was giving very much Reputation, like from the Reputation Look What You Made Me Do music video where she's in the bathtub of jewels, and you could kind of see that parallel there. People were picking up on a couple different Reputation Easter eggs, but I don't know if that was like on purpose or just like coincidental. So that's just something to keep in the back of your mind maybe for next year, you know, whether Reputation Taylor's version is going to be coming out, but we know that with 1989, the Shake It Off lawsuit is now postponed again until January, which really sucks, because I really don't know if that's the thing holding her back from releasing 1989 Taylor's version, but it is something that's just really annoying that she'd probably want to just get over with before she puts it out. As far as the re-records, I guess we're shelving that for now and we're going to be focusing on Midnights, and I'm so excited for this and I'm so excited for the lead up to it. I'm a little bit stressed because I'm going to be out of the country the day before it comes out and I won't be back here until the next day. So I'm just gonna have to find a way to listen to it and then get to work on teaching all these songs on guitar and learning them and talking about them with you guys. And I'm so excited for a new Taylor Swift era. And as far as next year, like touring, I saw something on TikTok that said she's planning on doing like a big tour with Lover, Folklore, Evermore, and Midnights, but I don't know if that's true. She's gonna be like up there for 5 hours if she's planning on combining all the albums into one tour. But I do wonder what kind of tour she's gonna put on, because I have heard that she's already booked out stadiums for next summer and I'm gonna go broke. But I'm looking forward to it. It's just such a fun time to be alive and a Taylor Swift fan. I've already pre-ordered the album on Taylor Swift's website. I'm excited to see what kind of merch she comes up with. I think this is going to be a really different era, and it's the first era back since the pandemic that she's going to be be probably doing performances and concerts and like all the things, and we haven't really had a full new era since Lover, I would say. Like Evermore and Folklore is very much like quarantine era and very much everyone celebrated it at home, but now we're back and I'm excited and very curious to see what Taylor Swift has up her sleeve. But yeah, I just wanted to make this little video just talk about it, and I know that you guys like already were commenting on my community post that I posted and just everyone's freaking out, and so let's freak out in the comments together and discuss what we think is going to happen. I'll be sure to keep you guys updated. If anything else comes out, I'll make another video about it, but until then, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and do that. I post new videos every Tuesday and Friday, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Taylor Swift album release periods are actually so stressful. I love it, and we always are begging Taylor for more music, but every time she announces it, I literally freak out and get so much stress in my life because of it. But it's the good kind. It's the good kind of stress. How am I gonna record my album reaction in a different country? We're gonna make it happen. It'll happen.